Brookes Bench with your host, Brooke, aka Shiggy, and my co-host, Brooke.
What's up, everybody? So sorry for my appearance today. I am exhausted and have been in the sun all day.
All right, guys, today we are going to get into the Eastern Conference overview, and we're going to get more of the fantasy aspect. Like we said, we're going to go through our fantasy women's basketball journey. So we're going to go over key players in the Eastern Conference today that you should be picking up for your fantasy team. And Brooke, you're going to start off with the Atlanta Dream.
Ooh. Bear with me, everybody. I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but you know what? Every now and then I'm right. All right. So with the Atlanta Dream, just a couple like huge additions. Want to go back to the rookies. You got 3 great rookies that are coming in from the draft. If you don't remember the rookies, watch the last video and then come back into this one. However, a couple big people, a couple key players, on this team are going to be Ryan Howard. She's going to be huge in there, but she's not only going to be huge in the points, she's going to be huge in rebounds and assists. She's top 3 in all 3 categories. And then she's also top 3 in 3-pointers, steals, and blocks. And remember, everybody, your steals and your blocks are 2 points each. So if you don't have her on your starting, probably grab her. The next one that we want to mention is Cheyenne Parker. Cheyenne Parker on that offensive side is going to be huge. Points, rebounds, assists. Not so much on, the 3-pointers, steals, and blocks. I mean, steals and blocks a little bit by a little bit, but definitely not as top dog. And then Ari McDonald, super big as well. Those are your top 3 key point leaders. However, Haley Jones, she's going to make her way into it. She's going to be huge. She's going to be a key player. And you know what? I think with some of these younger kids coming in, might make some of the veterans shape up or ship out. You know what I'm saying?
Free agency. Atlanta picked up Alicia Gray. So yes. I'm curious to see how Ryan Howard, Alicia Gray, and then, like you said, Haley Jones, they all fit together. Because, I mean, obviously, how you said Ryan Howard stepped in. She was a leader in basically every category for Atlanta. Does Alicia Gray take away from that? Or does she add to it? Who knows? But I agree. Ryan Howard, definitely a guard you should go after. And Cheyenne Parker, definitely a forward you should go after. Ari McDonald, I don't know. She might drop off.
Yeah.
She's from the 209. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
You do like your 209 players.
Yeah. I knew someone that I played basketball with, and she knew her, down the line. So, yeah. Gotta represent.
Well, hey, 209 is represented better than the 775.
Chelsea Gray. No. All right. Next, let's go to Chicago Sky. Man, so Chicago took a hit. Yeah. A lot of their leaders in points, rebounds, assists all left. I'll name them all. Candace Parker, Courtney Vandersloot, Azrae Stevens, and curious enough, Emma Mieseman has not decided where she's going. She technically she's free agent, so she hasn't said she's coming back to Chicago or not. I mean, season's almost starting, so this is kind of like what's going to happen because she was big. She's a big-time player for Chicago. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens, but Kalia Copper's still there. That's definitely someone you guys want to pick up. She was a leader in the points on the team. And this is her team now. I mean, she's going to take over this team. She's their a reliable guard. And she's great on defense. She's going to get you the rebounds, the steals. I mean, I would pick her up if she's there maybe later in the rounds. I'm definitely picking her up. And then let's talk about Chicago's free agency. So they picked up Marina Mabrey, Courtney Williams, and then Isabel Harrison. The names I'm looking for here, probably Marina Mabrey and Courtney Williams. Later rounds, I'll probably try and pick them up. Marina averaged 25.2 fantasy points a game, and then Courtney averaged 22.4. So those are solid numbers. That's someone you kind of want, maybe as like a utility player or maybe someone off the bench for, just in case emergency. It's going to be curious to see how they all mesh, though, in Chicago. So that is something to kind of monitor. But for sure, the only people I'm really targeting on Chicago for my team, Kalia Copper, Marina Mabrey, Courtney Williams, maybe Isabel Harrison if maybe Emma Mieseman doesn't come back. So that's something to monitor.
What is your take on Marina Mabrey?
This is tough.
I knew it.
This is tough because there's something to like about her. I don't know what it is.
But there's also like so much to
I'm
like
torn. I'm torn because last year I forgot who she was going against, and I was like, oh, she's a dog. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm here for it. And then she was hitting her threes, and I was like, oh, she's a dog. But yeah, I would say I like her. I'd pick
Imagine
her.
if she was a college player this year and just how
Oh
like
yeah,
crazy that would be.
I know.
Wow.
This is a good addition. Her what vibe? Her vibe is a good
Mhm.
addition to this team. With her and Clea Copper, it's gonna be a scrappy bunch. It's gonna be
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I like it.
definitely. But I mean, another team that took a hit in this offseason, in my opinion, is also Connecticut Suns. Like they
Yeah,
lost
facts.
their head coach, Kurt Miller, like
Yeah.
fabulous coach, you know, in the WNBA. He left, you know, a couple other people took off. You got Courtney Williams, who left from Connecticut. She's over with Chicago now, which I mean, I'm not like the biggest fan of her. However, she's a really great player.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jonquel Jones, like those are your two best players last year, and they got out. You know, they got out. You lost your head coach. A lot of people gone in that one. However, some people to like watch for in the fantasy is going to be Alyssa Thomas. Always, she's getting older though compared to a lot of basically almost everybody else in the league right now. I mean, you got like Brianna Stewart and stuff who are like veterans now, but getting a little bit older. She's still a huge person to like watch out for, have on your team, even later on. I mean, older you get, the more you got to watch out for injuries for sure. Yeah, there's just you know, you lose those two big players who are your two top picks in both, and it's just tough. But they picked up Tiffany Hayes from Atlanta. She's averaging in fantasy 25.2 points, like and she's not even like the biggest star. So like that's a good sleeper to like pick up on.
Yeah.
And then your rookie additions, not addictions. You got Alexis Morris and Ashton Pretzel. So you made like it's I don't know. To me, they're off the deep end a little bit. Rebuild year. Chicago, in my opinion, is probably sitting better than Connecticut. But hey, you know, you could probably have a couple people come in and steal the way. So
yeah, it's gonna be a little tough for Connecticut. It's gonna be hard fantasy wise to pick a player. Alyssa Thomas definitely pick. You gotta pick her up. Another person after Tiffany Hayes, I would say DeWanna Bonner. She's solid. 25.5 fantasy points per game. So I mean, really, Alyssa Thomas, DeWanna Bonner, maybe Tiffany Hayes.
They got an old team, you know.
That's all. Well, you know what? Actually, because Jonquel left, Brianna Jones. I don't know if you remember her. She came off the bench for Jonquel. So that maybe she takes over Jonquel's points. Actually, now I'm thinking about it.
So yeah, but who's up top to feed her as well as Courtney Williams? Like, so
hey,
who knows?
I don't know, but yeah, I would look out for those names. Definitely later round for sure. Indiana. Now, Indiana Fever, I think this is kind of where it gets complicated for fantasy because obviously Kelsey Mitchell and Melissa Smith killed it last year in fantasy. So those are two names that you definitely want to keep on your board. But with the addition of Aaliyah Boston, I don't know how that's going to affect Nalissa Smith because I would definitely pick up Aaliyah Boston. She would probably be the one rookie I really go hard for out of all rookies, honestly. She's just going to be involved, and
which is shocking because you're a huge Haley Jones fan.
I am, but I see more of a path for Aaliyah Boston to succeed in fantasy. Just her ability, you know, what's weighed more, blocks, steals, and blocks and steals. I mean, the blocks are her bread and butter. I mean, the points, all you have to do is feed her in the paint. And if Nalissa Smith succeeded, I mean, she had 814 fantasy points at the end of the season, averaged 25.4. I mean, that's pretty good. And she did that as a rookie. So, I mean, now teams have to worry about her and Aaliyah Boston. I mean, they can go back and forth. So, I mean, really, Kelsey Mitchell, Nalissa Smith, and Aaliyah Boston, who I'm going to go after on Indiana. Those are my top three. But then you have like Victoria Vivians, Queen Egbo. They had, you know, they were stat leaders in steals and what was it, 3-pointers. But I mean, if I'm picking the top three, those are my top three: Kelsey Mitchell, Nalissa Smith, Aaliyah Boston. And that's kind of, I mean, they had Erica Wheeler, they picked her up, but only 18.5.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to get the most points. So like averaging in the 20s, that's who you want to go for first. And I just think those three are definitely going to stand out this year. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, no one's going to be as dominant as New York Liberty this year. I can tell you that. You can make your whole fantasy team based off just players at New York right now.
Facts.
I mean, with the additions of like Courtney Vandersloot, they got John Cole Jones, they got Brianna Stewart. Like New York has come up guns blazing. I mean, you got Sabrina Ionescu already. She's the leader in most categories. Now you got John Claude Jones. You know, you got Dee Richards. You got Brianna Stewart, who is always going to be a top 3 fantasy pick in any article you freaking read these days. Courtney Vandersloot, like all these huge names are going to be just running the boards. And then you got like, I mean, yeah, you lost like Natasha Howard, but you
got a replacement.
You picked up a pretty solid lineup. And I mean, John Cole Jones and Brianna Stewart already, like as forwards, are averaging well above the 20s. I mean, Brianna Stewart's averaging 39.2 fantasy points per game. That's wild. And you got John Cole Jones, 30 points, like almost 31. Those two right there, those are my two bigs, right? And then Sabrina Ionescu, probably Courtney Vandersloot. Not a huge fan, but she's averaging 25 points per game. So that's the biggest thing I think for me that's going to go into the fantasy is like I need to put my bias of like who I like as a player and who I don't away because like I'm in a fantasy league with you and your people. Like y'all don't play. Like this is not like for fun. This is like talking mess, who's winning. There's going to be bets, stuff on the line. So I think those are probably my top people that I would choose for New York.
I agree. That's the hardest part of fantasy, like the favoritism. And it's like, I have to cut this player. Like, I love you, but you got to go, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard. You get attached. But I agree. Yeah, you do. But I agree. Sabrina, definitely, debatably the overall number 1 pick, which is
she earned it. I mean, the way she came from her rookie season, getting hurt after being like number 1 out of NCAA, getting hurt and then making like this kind of comeback. Beautiful.
I know. It's crazy. But yeah, another name for later rounds. I'm talking about like you're picking up on your bench. I'm sorry. I'm going to mess this name up. We're going to practice this before every show now. Benijah Laney?
It sounds right to me.
I'm so sorry. But late round pickup. She's going to be a good player on this team. So I'm saying like bench, like coming off my bench on my fantasy team. I'm looking out for that name late round. Okay. Last team in the Eastern Conference, Washington Mystics. Let's see here. This is kind of easy. Errol Atkins, definitely picking her up. Elena Deladon, definitely picking up. Yeah. Now here, I see Natasha Cloud. Okay. You're going to pick her up. But I'm not saying that she's not going to be consistent. She's a good player. But I would say don't get your hopes up for consistent points every game. Like if you want to depend on a player, I wouldn't say, I'm depending on Natasha Cloud to give me fantasy points. I would not.
Her and Courtney Vandersloot to me are not Courtney Vandersloot. Courtney Williams. Sorry.
Okay.
Courtney Vandersloot's way at the bottom for me. But those two, Natasha Cloud and Courtney Williams, they're on the same like length to me. But like you said, if you're gonna go more consistent, Courtney Williams. Like Natasha Cloud has just been like this. Washington Mystics the last 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm not saying she's a bad player. We're just talking about fantasy. No. This is all fantasy talk.
Yeah.
We are trying to get
this is fantasy.
That should be at the front of this video.
That's our subject.
Disclaimer. Of the video. Yeah. This is all fantasy. We're not saying these are bad players. We're saying who can get you the most fantasy points.
Yep.
Every category has different point systems, so we're not saying one player is worse than the other. We're just saying who can optimize the most points for us.
100%.
So yeah, Ariel Atkins, Elena Deladon, Brittany Sykes, they got in free agency. Yeah, I would say if she's there, pick her up. Maybe a bench player. But the two I'm targeting, I forgot to mention Shakira Austin. Honestly, watch out. I think she's gonna have a good season this year. I liked her last year. I'm not saying she's gonna score a lot of a lot of fantasy points. So maybe this is more of a straight basketball take. She's going to have a good season this year, I think. She did really well last year. So if any injury happens, honestly, look out for her. If she's there late rounds, I'm picking her up and putting her on my bench. But other than that, I mean,
dude, and looking at this like now, like in depth, right? Team by team. I'm sorry, but the West is taking over this year.
I know.
Like, New York, Indiana maybe might be the sleeper team, but like the West Coast is just the West Conference taking off.
Yeah, I mean, there's honestly like what 2 to 3 stars on these teams, except for New York. 2 to 3 stars are really going to get you fantasy points on these teams. When we go over the West, I feel like it's going to be a lot more. But we'll go over that in the next episode. But for Washington, I mean, that's it. Just those 2 to 3 players I mentioned. But yeah. Brooke,
as you can tell, we're not as excited about the Eastern Conference as we will be about the West.
Yeah, we're biased, okay? West Coast.
We are very biased.
West Coast is the best coast. Sorry, East Coast. You guys are cool too. I've never been there. Have you been there?
A couple places. I mean, have yet to go to Boston. I feel like if I go to Boston, I'm not coming back. But but I've been in New York, Atlanta, DC. So
those are good places. Okay.
Yeah. I was also young though. I'd love to go back.
Yeah. Okay. So what we are going to do before we close it out with our questions, we're going to do a little bit of a mock draft. And we are going to, me and Bert are going to go back and forth. We're going to pick 2 guards, 3 forwards or centers, and then a utility player. So the 6 starters you would need for a fantasy team. But this, we're just going to do exclusively Eastern Conference players just to get more of a mindset of like kind of how we're thinking and valuing each player. But we're going to go back and forth so we don't pick the same players, so you guys can get a broader range of players that we're considering to put on our team, basically, okay?
Yeah, and I might eventually be shooting out of the dark here soon because I feel like we're going to pick the same people.
I know, it's going to be hard.
Them off my list here.
I know, it's going to be hard. How do you want to decide who goes first?
You go first this round. Since I talked first, and then next week I'll go first and you go second.
So you made this hard because I just had this debate of who should be the number 1 pick, and both of them are on the East for me.
Oh.
I know, which is weird because we just said we love the West.
Okay, so are we going number 1 picks, or are we going to start with guards and go to bigs and then our bench player?
No, you can pick whoever you want. Just fill up your spots.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Like my real mock. I prepared the other way, so I was like, cool. Like we're gonna have a good rotation.
No, you go for everything. We'll just do the starters though. We don't have to do the bench. That might be too deep. Okay.
Yeah.
So actually, because it's just I take that back. I'm gonna go Sabrina. So I'm picking Sabrina.
Oh, you suck, dude. I feel like you chose Sabrina just because you knew I was gonna choose Sabrina.
No, so listen here, because this is important information. I saw an article that said there are like 4 to 5 guards that actually score 1,000 fantasy points for the entire season. And I was like, I never thought about that because I'm thinking I'm going Asia Wilson or Breanna Stewart, my first pick. But they're saying bigs are more likely to score over 1,000 fantasy points in the season. So it's like, I kind of want to start going for guards first now because they're so slim. So we're going to try the strategy today. So Sabrina, you're on my team.
Stay on the same kind of brand and theme as you for my first pick because I feel like this person is going to be somewhere in your starters. And if not, maybe your bench player. So I'm going to choose Ryan Howard as my first pick. Same as Sabrina. I mean, over 1,000 points. I think going to do some good damage this year. And I'm just going to get a solid guard out of the way.
All right. That was your mistake, young grasshopper.
It's okay. It's okay. I got some good ones coming up.
Girl, Breanna Stewart. My guy, Breanna Stewart. I know they're on the same team. Another advice tip. Usually you don't want players on the same team, but there are exceptions when you have Sabrina and Breanna Stewart on the same team. Okay. So we're going Breanna Stewart with our second pick. I like it. I like my team. Yeah.
I mean, that would be everybody's first big choice. Yeah. But of course you can't rely on you having the first bigs of the draft. my next person is going to be John Cole Jones. I think they're going to complement each other. Might be a little bit of a battle between like who's actually going to finish and go up. But you know what? I think that she's fresher, she's younger, and I think she's just going to come in and like do damage.
All right, good pick, good pick. All right, now this is where I'm having some turmoil here.
Okay.
There's a lot of names I like. There's a lot of names I like here. And now I'm stalling because I don't know who I'm picking. All right, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm actually going to go. I'm going with the big. I'm going with Alyssa Thomas. Yeah, I gotta go. I got my top guard. I got my scorer. She's gonna lead the league, so I gotta go with my bigs.
Damn, dude, you suck.
Put you in a pickle.
You did. You put me in a big pickle because she was high on my list as well, and now I'm like, do I go guard or do I go big? The only reason I'm leaning towards big is because we have to choose 3.
I know.
There's like 2 guards, you know? So I'm like trying to like make them equal somehow. And because of that, I'm going to go DeWanna Bonner.
Okay.
You know, not super high up there in the race, but I think like consistency is going to win the race for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna have to go back to my guards. Gotta show love. Now this one's hard. I have 2 players that I'm debating, but I think I'm gonna have to go Ariel Atkins here.
I knew
I'm gonna go Ariel.
I feel like we should have just made each other's.
Ariel.
Damn. Because you know why? My next pick was between her and Kelsey Mitchell.
Yeah, that's who mine was.
Yeah, so I'm choosing Kelsey Mitchell.
Okay, good pick, great pick.
Yeah, you left me no choice. And I feel like, you know what? Yeah. We're going to have to record us actually doing these drafts because, you guys, let me tell you, okay? There's like, how many? 5 of us, Trix?
6.
6 of us, okay? I want you all to know that, like, Shix does not have a dominant personality here. You know, she's very quiet and reserved on most days.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to be the same thing, okay? And I'm the exact opposite. And you know what? I'm going to have to fight for my life.
Yeah.
Fight for my life. So, Kelsey Mitchell it is.
Great pick. All right.
Now
so
you're going to pick. Damn it, dude.
I have a forward or a utility player left.
I messed that one up and I shouldn't have.
Okay, I'm going to finish out my forwards. I don't know if that's what you were going to do. But I'm going to go Elena Deladon.
Yep, and then that was my next pick. So I appreciate that. I'm so happy for you. Let me tell you. My next person that I would pick is like a guard, and my guards are taken.
You can use those as utility. That's a guard. So, yeah, that's anyone.
Rena Mayberry.
All right. The dog.
She might get teed up too many times. She's probably going to not be able to play a couple games, but you know what? She will get me those points.
Scrapper. Yep. All right. For my last pick, I'm going for another big. I'm going to Alyssa Smith.
Dude, can you get out of my head? Because I shit you not. I was sitting here and I'm like, ooh, this is a good pick. She's not going to pick her. And then you said her name. I'm
Thank you.
So upset with you. You know what? Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Is she going to do well? I don't know. Is she going to get me the points? Probably not. But you know what? Emily Inksler, I think you're going to have a great year.
Dang. Over Leah Boston?
I think it's going to take a little bit of adjustment for sure. Yeah. I'm excited. I think it's going to take Aaliyah Boston a little bit of time and a little bit of adjustment. But I think like year 2, Aaliyah Boston, she's going to be a top pick for sure.
All right. Let's close it out then. That was rough. I want everyone to know, prepare, because these are rough, okay? These mock drafts are rough. We're going to record a mock draft together, okay, Brooke?
Okay. Let's good practice.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll do a mock draft together. So stay tuned for that. All right. Our last questions of the day to close out the video.
Rapid questions.
Yeah.
Who do you think will have the best record in
New York?
Okay.
That's easy.
Let me finish.
Sorry. She said, who will have the best record in the Eastern Conference? New York Liberty. I mean, they're stacked. It's insane.
Yeah.
So New York. I mean, we don't have to explain, honestly. Would you agree?
I 100% agree. And you know what? That, like, who wouldn't agree with that one?
Who?
But I'm more intrigued at our next question of, like, who will be the sleeper team this season? Like, I'm very intrigued on your answer here.
Come on, it's Atlanta. We all know it's Atlanta for me.
Ooh.
Atlanta, baby. I'm telling you, y'all sleeping on Atlanta Dream. They're here to play. I liked them last year. Ryan Howard led that team up amazingly as a rookie. Now they have Alicia Gray. They picked up some good rookies. They're here to play. I love the team, and I'm here for it. You?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a top 3 to 5 team. Probably top 3, honestly. But you know what? I'm stuck on Indiana Fever right now.
Okay.
They're young.
They're
very
young.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm very intrigued to watch the development.
Interesting.
Yeah. And there you
all right. For hot takes from the Brookes. Thank you. Thank you all who have viewed our video, who have liked our videos, who have commented on our videos. We appreciate you. We'll keep coming out with this content.
Whether you like it or not.
Yes. We're here to have some fun and bring more attention to women's basketball. Guys, we'll see you next episode. Peace.
Bye.